All right, everyone. I'm here with a very special guest today. I am joined by Vince Sant, which is very confusing because it's kind of like Vincent,
Yes.
but it's your first and last name. So I had to read,
Yes.
like, I was practicing before and I was like, this is going to throw me off so much.
Yes. Well, thank you for having me. I'm
Of
I'm excited to
course.
be here. We were chatting a little bit before
Mhm.
we started actually recording, and I think we're gonna go over some fun stuff and keep this nice and light.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to have you on. And we were having a good conversation, of course, before we started recording this, which is how everything goes. Um, but I wanted to have you on because like you had pointed out in our earlier conversation, I've definitely seen your advertisements everywhere. I've seen your face before. I know it. So I wanted to have you come on and talk a little
Mhm.
bit about V-Shred, right? That's the company.
Yes.
Um, and like what the heck it is and what you're doing in the world today.
Yeah. No, I'm happy to talk about it. And I mean, it's funny. Like again, we're gonna probably bring up some things that we just
Mhm.
talked about 5 minutes ago. Um, but I mean, most people know me, know my company from ads.
Yep.
We have a very strong marketing team. We know what we're doing when it comes to media buying. That's the term that we use
Mhm.
for running ads. Um, and I don't really think anybody even really comes close to doing what we're doing when it comes to that, right? There's people who are killing it in SEO, people who are killing it with
Right.
organic content, killing it with ambassadors, all that kind of stuff. But you got to find your specialty, right?
Yeah.
But it's funny that most people know me from that, and they don't really. Some know me, like know other stuff about me, but then other people are also like, is Vince even real? Like, are you like
Yeah.
we get like jokes, we were like, is he a robot? We were talking about this before. It's like we've literally me and my team, we've talked about like making funny little skits that are like show me as like not real, show me as like this robot that has to get plugged in to get charged. But no, I'm excited to be here, and I'd love to talk about what we do and just kind of give people a little bit of a view under the rug, behind the scenes look at what we're all about and kind of make it a little bit more real. I think people see our ads and they kind of I think some really connect well, and then I
Mhm.
think some get a little put off
Mhm.
because it's an ad,
Yep.
right? People know that we're paying for
Supposed
this
to sell
ad
you
to be
something.
put in,
Yeah.
right. And so people are sometimes a little hesitant because they don't know if it's trustworthy, and then
Mhm.
they go look us up and they see
Mhm.
mixed reviews. And so, yeah, I'm happy to talk about everything and answer any
Yeah.
questions.
Yeah, so mixed reviews is all part of it. You can't please everyone, but as long as you're pleasing the majority, that's just a part of
100%.
it.
No, there's
Um,
I've always said that the 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 loud there's probably 10% that are going to 90% are going to like you, 10% are going to dislike you, and that
yeah.
10% is way louder than 90%.
100, yes, I 100% agree. So I come from a marketing background. I went to school, got my degree in marketing. I did the corporate marketing thing for a little. Now I'm here. But the first thing, whenever I'm talking to people about businesses that they've created or stuff, I'm always curious, what is the name V? Like, where did the name V Shred come from? What does it mean? What's its significance? I feel like that's always a great starter question.
Yeah, good question. I don't think I've actually ever been. I mean,
Oh,
I've been asked like the origin story of the
right.
company, and this is in that, but I've
In
never
that,
really
yeah.
been asked like why is it named V-Shred?
Just my marketing
And
brain
I
going.
don't know if anybody's watching right now. I'm sweating my ass off. I literally just got back from the gym, so if I'm dabbing
Love that.
some sweat away, don't mind me. Um, but so V-Shred is what it's named now.
Okay.
When we started it, it was actually called the Vinsanity Six Pack Shred.
Okay. That's a long title.
Yeah, you're right. And that was the URL. It was the
Oh,
Vinsanity six-pack shred.com, all
okay.
spelled out. And because originally when we started the company, it was me and it was three of my best friends at the time. So there's four partners.
Mhm.
We were like, hey, let's get together. And we two of them had a background in media buying and running
Okay.
ads, which is where our specialty in running ads comes from today.
Yeah.
And then one had a background; he knew how to code websites, put together web pages,
Hmm.
stuff like that. And then I was a fitness guy, right?
Yep.
And so we got together. It was actually our now CEO's idea to to start a little to make a fitness program. And I was young at the time. I
Mhm.
was probably 100 and I don't know, 60 pounds. I was a little skinny dude.
I was gonna say
And
that's skinny.
I'm 6'2", so that's real skinny.
Yeah.
And so but I was always like really lean, right?
Hmm.
I was a fashion model before, and so like I
Okay.
always made sure that like my abs were popping and stuff like
Right.
that. And so his idea was let's make a six-pack program. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm super
Yeah.
down for that. I did ab workouts all day, every day,
Hmm.
and I had good abs. And so we made a six-pack program. We went to this gym at like 4 a.m. in the morning, drove 2 hours to go there because it was the only gym that we could find that would let us film. We were living in LA
Okay.
and filmed this whole ab program that night. We literally duct taped our phones to tripods because we didn't have cameras, and we just recorded them. Had this little shitty lav mic. One of my partners, he edited it all together.
Yep.
We created this terrible looking logo, called it the Vinsanity Six Pack Shred, and voila, we had our first official program.
Yep.
Um, and we started with like email marketing. We started with like lead gen, if you know what lead
Hmm.
gen
Yep.
is. And then that all kind of fell apart when we started getting a lot of emails, and we started sending a lot of emails, and we didn't know anything about emails at the time. And we all of a sudden started going to spam. And so we were getting spammed out. We had no idea why. Delivery was going to shit. The
Yep.
open rate was terrible.
Yep.
And so we were essentially spending money to get these leads and then not making the money back. And so we were like, well, we need to figure out something else. And so a couple things happened, and that led us down the path of creating more programs, right?
Hmm.
We were like, okay, maybe this needs to be bigger than just abs. Because at the time we were like, I don't know if you've ever done like P90X. P90X has an ab program that's
Okay.
part of it called Ab Ripper X. And
Okay.
we were like, let's make the next Ab Ripper X and let's just sell it and let's pay rent. That's all the goal was just let's
Yes.
pay our rent with this. And it was going all right. We're getting a couple sales a day here and there, right? And then we were like, okay, we're like, why don't we try this, but with like more like full on programs that more people are going to be interested in.
Yeah.
And so we made our first full body program, which is now Ripped in 90 Days, which is like our biggest male program.
Hmm.
Um, and then what we did was we actually made a program specific to goals, and we made programs for obviously both genders as well. We actually didn't start with women's. We started with
Right.
males, made Rip to 90 Days, made a fat loss program, made a bulk program. So we had the three like main goals, right?
Right.
People either want to lose weight, they want to bulk up, or they kind of just want to get
Get
shredded.
started. Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. And so we made those three programs and we tried marketing those, wasn't going too well. And then well, okay. And then once we made those programs, we were like, okay, this is no longer the six pack shred. This
Right.
is
It's more
just
than that. Yeah.
this is and so what we changed it to was we changed it to the Vinsanity shred. So it was still kind of all built around me, Vince Sant.
Yeah.
And so now
It's
we
a
went from the
perfect name.
Vinsanity. Well, and it's
You have
funny
a
because like
yeah.
people think that it's fake. People ask me all the time like what my real name is because like you
Right.
said, it goes
It's
together
so
so
it's
well.
so nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, and it's I always joke
Mhm.
that like imagine if I had a lisp, that would have been so mean
So
by my
bad.
parents.
Yeah,
Like because
yeah.
my middle name's Seth,
Well, I
and
guess
so
they
it'd
wouldn't have
be
known.
they
They
wouldn't have known.
no, they
But
wouldn't have
imagine
known.
like Vincent Seth Sant, because
Yeah.
my first full name is Vincent,
Vincent,
and
right.
so Vince Sant is like Vincent. Um, but yeah, so we
Yeah.
started with Insanity Six Pack Shred, changed it to the Insanity Shred,
Yeah.
and then we built out multiple programs, built out our body type quiz.
Hmm.
We were like the first on the scene with a body type with a fitness quiz, and now everybody and their mother has
Everyone's I
fitness
know.
quizzes
I
because
know.
I saw it work. And more power to them. You can go try to get it work. It's a rough game to get anything to work when it comes to running ads.
Yeah.
Um, and so we built out these programs, and then we were like, okay, let's build them for women. So we did the same thing with women.
Hmm.
And then about a year or two, and that's when everything kind of took off,
Okay.
right? Once we made our quiz, people I think really started to connect with us because up until that, we just had an ab program,
Right.
which the only people buying an ab program from a 21-year-old kid are other 21-year-old kids.
Yeah.
And 21-year-old kids don't really have money. And so
That, yeah,
we
that's the
weren't really
tricky
selling
part.
anything. And
Mm-hmm.
so we made these
Mm-hmm.
programs, made them for all different goals.
Mm-hmm.
And made this quiz that we could actually run ads to. And we figured out like what we needed to make it convert. Um, and yeah, that's when everything kind of took off. And once we started actually seeing a little bit of progress or seeing a little bit of success, that's when we were like, hey, we might want to kind of disassociate this from me so much and make this more of like, we were like, hey, this could actually be a brand. Because up until
Yeah.
then, we were like, let's just build this program around me
Right.
and see what we can do. And
Right.
then we were like, hey, this is like a bunch of different programs. We're getting a bunch of people who are interested in this,
Mm-hmm.
but it's so tied to me that we would never really be able to scale or expand like
Right.
we think we could.
Right.
Right. And so that's when we were like, we need to possibly rename this. Also, the Vinsanity Shred is still a really long name. And
Yeah.
so we were like, you know what? Let's make this just the V Shred, or not the V Shred. It's just let's just make this V Shred.
Okay.
And we already had logos and everything
Yep.
like that, and so we basically just took the insanity out of it, just made it the V and the S.
Perfect.
And also V is like what everybody wants
So
their
that's the first thing
body
I
to look
thought
like.
of
Yeah,
was like the V. And then I was like, oh, it's probably V because his name is Vince. But I
yeah.
actually thought
But it
about
works
like the
either
V
way.
first. I know. So you just have a, you should thank your parents. They gave you a good name.
Unless I had a lisp, it would
Yes,
have been
unless you
really
had a
bad.
list, but unless you had a list.
Yeah, so yeah, that's a funny. It's funny that you ask that because people will just assume they're like, oh, it's V Shred because it's Vince, but they don't really ask like how we came up with that name because originally we didn't call it V Shred. We
Right.
called it the Vinsanity Six Pack Shred, and then the Vinsanity Shred, and
Insane.
now lo and behold, V Shred.
I like that. I like that story. And I like, as no offense to you, but I like that you kind of disassociated it from yourself too.
Yes,
Cause we were talking beforehand, it's everybody's body is different and everybody's vision of like what they want is different. So I feel like thinking in like a business mindset, you can scale it much larger when people aren't, when it's just you, it's like you're missing out on everybody that, no offense, doesn't want to look like you, you know?
100%. No, you're spot on, and we saw that.
Yeah.
I don't want to say we saw that early on, but we predicted that early on
Yeah.
because in the beginning we were like, the only people that are going to listen to me are 20 to 25-year-old guys, right?
Hmm.
Because they want to look like me, right?
Hmm.
And then we made those programs, we made the quiz, and we realized that it was actually women that listened to me way more, which was shocking to us.
Hmm.
And it was also a little bit older than me as well. It was
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
35 plus women
Hmm.
were like, that was like our main demo. We were like, what? And so, yeah, we knew that we had to disassociate it from me because,
Yeah.
like, the other thing is like, once we started seeing real success, we, me and my partners have really lofty goals at all times. And I have really lofty goals, but they're
Hmm.
like even next level. Like
Okay.
I got bigger goals than pretty much all my friends. They got, they make me think even bigger. And so once we started seeing success, we were like, okay, now it's game time. It was like,
Yeah.
now let's
Yeah.
see what we can do with this. And you can't, and so we like at that time, we literally had we called a meet, we called a meeting. There was four of us,
Yeah.
and then one employee that we weren't even paying at the time. And um, we called this meeting between all of us, and we sat down. It was 2 8-hour days just to figure out what direction we wanted to go and what our mission statement was, what our core values were. Like we literally spent 16
Yeah.
hours
I believe it.
in these two meetings just
Hmm.
figuring out what we wanted
Hmm.
to how we wanted to the direction that we wanted to go with this thing and what we wanted people to feel and experience when they came to us and the values that we're going to hold true to ourselves as we make hard decisions left and right and
Yeah.
navigate this company.
Yeah.
And we knew that like if we really wanted to scale this and we really wanted to maximize the opportunity here, this couldn't just be Vince's company. This couldn't be viewed as something that Vince is doing out of his garage,
Yeah.
right? And to this day, we still have people that associate it with me big time. and that's our own
That's gonna
fault
happen.
because
Yeah.
of course it's our own fault. I'm in all the programs, I'm in all the ads,
Hmm.
I'm in all the videos.
It also
And
originated that
so
way, so it's like it's
and
grown
that
from that, but
and then
that's where
also
it's
the
originally
V
started.
thing, so that
Yes,
doesn't help
yes,
either.
yes. Yeah.
But now we're really branching out, and we're trying to expand. And like, I don't know if you've seen any of our recent videos. Now
Hmm.
we were working with Dr. Drew really closely. He's a
Yep.
good friend of ours now. Didn't know him a couple months ago, and he started following one of our programs, and he lost like 20 pounds. His wife lost 20 pounds, and that was after they had tried all these different diets that they gained weight on. Nothing really worked for them, and they heard about us, and they tried it, and they just
Hmm.
fell in love with it. And they fell in love with the supplements. They fell in love with the coaching. And so we were like, is there an opportunity here to work together? Because it's like, we have me who I can connect with certain demographics, but there's also people out there that are like, oh, he's just a personal trainer. He doesn't know what he's
Right.
talking about.
Right.
Versus a medical doctor who can really speak to the issues that are going on in people's bodies. And he has another level of credibility to him.
Right.
And so like, that's the approach that's the direction that we really want to go, where it's like, we want to expand this to a team of faces that can speak to different demographics in
Yeah.
different ways. It's
I
just
love that.
like if you get, I don't know if you have a Peloton, if you go ride on your Peloton, you pick who you want your coach to be.
Mm-hmm.
Some
Mm-hmm.
people like Alex Toussaint. Some people like Kendall Toole. Some
I
people
do like
like
Kendall
Cody
too.
Rigsby.
I love
And so
Cody
like,
too.
people are all going to have their individual people that they
Yep.
like,
Yep.
and other people that they don't necessarily like. And so
Yep.
there's people out there that like me, and there's people out there that don't like me. And so if we can continue to add the right pieces, and these have to be people that like truly believe, like, we're not looking for like paid endorsers. We're not looking for that. We're looking for people who truly believe in the future of this company and our
Yeah.
mission. And if we can find those people and we can build around them accordingly, that's what we think the next evolution is.
I love that. And I'm always preaching online. Credibility is the biggest thing. I feel like
100%.
we've kind of experienced like that beginning start of the internet and like people on social media when it was just like the Gymshark athletes. Like it was like
Oh
just
yeah.
Steve Cook out there on YouTube and stuff. And now everyone and their mother, I guess myself included, has some sort of fitness account, but not everybody's credible. And
Qualified.
sometimes
Right.
having a personal training certification, it's like, okay, you passed the test, but
Right. It's like, that's a 12-week
I
thing. It's
passed my
like,
calculus test back in like college and I can't tell you anything about that stuff.
right, right, right.
So I love that you guys are partnered with like people like doctors and kind of looking towards that sort of direction just because
Yeah.
I feel like you said, and like we were saying before, I like to explain things in a very simple, easy to digest way. And I think a lot of people do like that,
Mhm.
but some people need more convincing or need more information,
Yeah.
before, especially when you're trying to get somebody to spend money on
Right.
something. I think it's important to know like this is the science behind it, or it's there if
100%.
you need it.
And some people, they don't even necessarily need the science. They just need to hear from somebody that they know they'll trust.
Right.
Because like,
Somebody who had to go to
if
medical school.
me, let's say me and Dr. Drew,
Yeah.
there's a person who is a little skeptical of us, right?
Hmm.
And we both tell them the same message.
Hmm.
They're probably going to trust Dr. Drew a little bit more than me.
Yeah.
And we know that. And
Yeah.
it's not like I'm out here giving bad advice, even though there's everybody and their mother
Hmm.
wants to act like I am.
Hmm.
Everything, I mean, we've sold over 5 million programs, and we have hundreds of thousands of
That's
testimonials.
just
Like,
envy. The ones that think that I feel like I've found, and I totally just cut you off. I'm sorry.
no, you're
The
way fine.
people who don't want to get off their butts and do something are the ones that will try and cut you down
Yeah,
because they're jealous. But
100%.
at the end of the day, you're not a superhuman and I'm not a superhuman. We're just not lazy, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And I think the other thing is like, there are people who are out there working hard, but I
Mhm.
think it's what you said, the envy piece of it. It's like
Mhm.
people who have been like, when V Shred first popped off, we were the new kids on the block.
Mhm.
Like, nobody had really heard of us a year prior, and then
Yep.
out of nowhere, we were everywhere. And so the people who had been doing it for 5, 10 years, they didn't really like that, because they're like, who's
You
this
grew too
person?
fast. Yeah.
Right. And these are people who have doctorates,
Mhm.
PhDs, written
Mhm.
books, and all of a sudden this personal trainer is getting way more attention and publicity than them. And so that was another piece of it. But it's okay. I mean, and that's the thing is like, I love what you said. It's like, we're human. Like I
Mhm.
made so many mistakes in the beginning. We made so many mistakes in the beginning of our company. So many. And part of it's our own fault. And then part of it's just because we grew so fast, right?
Mhm.
We like we went from, I don't know, a couple $100 a day to like $100,000 a day, like
That's
overnight.
that's where
And
I
so
need
like,
to be.
and we didn't and we didn't have the systems for that. We
Yeah.
didn't have the proper tools in place for
Mm-mm.
that. We didn't have a website that could handle that. And so customer service went to shit.
Yep.
Our website couldn't load pages fast enough because
Yep.
the volume was too high. People weren't getting their program. People weren't getting answered to when they wanted a refund. So people were like, scam, scam, scam. And it's like, it's not. We're just these guys that I didn't go to college. And
Right.
we're just these guys trying to figure this out, working 18 hours a day, every single day, busting our asses, bleeding over this thing. And just we would wake up in the morning and there'd be 10 fires. And it's like, which one's the biggest?
Yeah.
Let's go
What do you
put
put
that
out
fire out
first? Yep.
and we'll get to these other 9 later. And
Yep.
because like in the beginning, you have to stay in business.
Yeah.
We can't help people if you don't stay in business. And so
Right.
it's like we had to make sure that we were keep making money and selling programs so that we could stay in business so that we could
Right.
help more people. Obviously today is a lot different
Different.
because
Yeah.
we're more established and everything. And
Right.
so all those things that like people used to hate on, like the
Hmm.
customer service and stuff, our
Hmm.
customer service is impeccable. Our website is impeccable now. Our load times are impeccable now.
Yeah.
Our refund rate is impeccable now. And so like, but people don't talk about that. People just they like to hate, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And they'll have somebody who had a bad experience 3 years ago or whenever will keep that bad
They're gonna hold
experience.
on to it. Yeah.
I say businesses like people are allowed to change and grow. And we
Yeah,
all have the
100%.
capacity to do so, you know?
Yes.
So
100%.
I like how you're talking about, like you said, like, we're all just human. You've made a ton of mistakes. You made mistakes in this business aspect. What are some mistakes that you've made in a fitness aspect that you've kind of learned and grown from, and that's helped you help other people? You know,
Yeah. That's a good question.
that one
I
just came to
think
my mind.
I think one of the things, and I actually remember having a conversation
Mhm.
with one of my partners, the CEO now. I think I spoke too much to myself. I think I like when we first started filming videos,
Yeah.
I was really bad on camera. It was actually quite funny. People like today, they're like now, like I'm coaching people on camera,
Right. Yeah.
and they're like, "How are you so good? You just have this. You're a natural." I'm like, I ain't a natural. You watch my early YouTube videos.
Like this took practice.
Oh
Yeah.
man, it's so
Hey,
cringy.
I'm the
It's
same
so
way.
bad.
Now I
Oh,
don't
it's
shut
so
up.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, but and now, yeah, now it's second nature. Now I can just
Yeah.
you give me something to talk about, I'm running with it, right? And but in the beginning, because I was so bad, I didn't really know how to connect with people. And so I would just assume that everybody was like me, that everybody was a 22, 21 to 24-year-old kid who was in really good shape and just wanted to be in extra good shape. And they were okay with going to the gym all the time. They were okay with making healthy eating decisions. They had all the time in the world to dedicate to fitness. And so I would talk to them that way.
Hmm.
And then my business partner, he's the
Most people
one of
aren't
the
like that. Yeah.
no, not at all. And my business partner, he's one of the people that I give credit to why I'm so good on camera today, because he would just sit there with me and he would think through how I need to say things, who I need to talk to, the avatar that I need to have in my mind when I am filming a video and talking about certain supplements or talking about programs, or talking about nutrition advice. And
Yeah.
so when I really started when I created that proper inner dialogue with myself and who I should be talking to, that's when everything really started connecting with
Okay.
people.
Yeah.
Um, and then I think also just like I don't want to say we cut corners, but we grew so fast that it was like we didn't have the time to do the things that people who are like perfectionists
Right.
do.
Sometimes you just need to get it out there because it
Yeah,
needs to
and
be.
and and I
Hmm.
think that's the biggest business mistake. I don't even want to call it a mistake though. That's just one of the that's one of the issues that we ran into
Hmm.
as the business was growing. Because there's a book that I recommend everybody read if you
Okay.
haven't read it yet. If you're trying to build a business, if you're trying to do anything, honestly, is it's Ready, Fire, Aim is the book, and it is about exactly what it sounds like. So normally it's ready, aim, fire. This is ready, fire, aim, and basically it's a book all about just doing the damn thing, taking
Yeah.
action, not
Yeah.
waiting until the right moment, not waiting until you have the right information or the perfect look or whatever. It's just about going and starting. And then once you just jump in, if you're like concerned about like if you want to jump in or if you want to swim across a river,
Yep.
it's like you can sit there and think about it and go practice swimming
Yeah. Or
and
you just get
and
in.
psych yourself out, or jump
Just get
in
in. Yep.
and you can see how hard it is, and you'll probably make your way across. You're going to learn some things along the way, but you're actually going to make it, versus you might psych yourself out and never do it.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of people, they kind of get all caught up in like wanting to build the perfect company and wanting to have the perfect logo and wanting to
Yep.
have the perfect website and wanting to have the perfect product. Our first program was filmed on iPhones duct taped to tripods
Yep.
at 4 a.m. in the morning, all filmed in one night.
I think you can't perfect anything too if you haven't done it, and you need to learn
100%.
while you're doing it. You can't expect to come out with the perfect thing if you haven't done it before, you
Yes.
know?
How would you know what's right or
You
wrong
don't.
if you haven't done it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say that that was like a mistake that we made, because it's why we are where we are
But it's a
today.
lesson you learned.
But it's, yes, that's what it is. It's probably one of the biggest
So,
lessons we.
what is, as far as like products that you put out or services and help and stuff, what are you the most proud of?
Hmm. Okay, I have a two for one here.
Okay.
Um, it's definitely two programs. One of the programs is our clean bulk program. I'm the
Love
most
that.
proud of
Love that
that
idea.
because that was me. And so I say that I'm proud of that because that holds a soft place in my heart for all the guys out there, or girls, who are naturally skinny.
And
And
just,
some
mhm.
people would say that's a gift. It's like
It's a
we got
struggle in a
our
different type of way.
we got our own issues.
Yep.
Right. And so like that was a program that I put together because it's the program that I followed to take me from
Okay.
160 pounds to 200 pounds at the
Yeah.
same body fat.
Yeah.
And so that right there, like if a young kid comes up to me and he's like, I can't put on weight, I got time for that. Right. But then the other thing that I'm really proud of, because of the reach that it's had and the impact that it's had, is on the other end of the spectrum, is our Fat Loss Extreme program.
Okay.
That program, I think, has by far had the biggest impact
Success. Okay.
on, of anything that we offer. We've definitely sold the most. I shouldn't say copies because of the digital programs. They don't sell
Right.
copies, but we've sold that program the most and gotten the most
Success.
testimonials from
Awesome.
it. And like those people are hurting, right? Those people are hurt. And I said that like skinny people, they're hurting. People who are overweight and have been overweight their entire life and they've tried to lose weight, they're hurting on a
Hmm.
different level.
Hmm.
And nothing they do seems to work.
Hmm.
And so we created a program that is a super realistic, right? I think all the military boot camp style trainers out there that are telling people to go do an hour of cardio after they lift. It's like, my mom's not going to do that.
No,
Right.
I'm not
We,
doing that.
right. Yeah. Most
So,
people are not doing that. And so we created something that would be, we have a term that we absolutely love called minimum effective dose. And so what is the minimum dose that you need to make it effective? And that's
Mhm.
what we built the program around. And it's about HIIT workouts, it's about carb cycling, it's about allowing you to still live your life while getting really good results.
Right.
And I think that program alone, I think we've sold over 3.5 million copies of just that program.
Wow.
And so and we've gotten testimonial after
Yeah.
testimonial, people who are like, I
Proof's in the
work out.
pudding.
Yeah, they're like, I work out
Okay.
15, 20 minutes a day from home. I eat carbs 4 days a week and a lot of carbs, and I'm getting in the best shape of my life.
Mhm. I love
That's
that.
it, those.
I like testimonials are everything, because so many people can promise stuff, but if you see like I don't know. I like whenever reviews, whenever I'm buying something off of Amazon, I like to see, all right, is this garbage? Am I spending my money on garbage, or
Yes.
have they sold 3.5 million copies for a reason?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
do you guys have any, I don't want to keep you too much longer. So do you guys have any socials or anything that people can follow along to and kind of stay tuned or get started with you
Yeah.
guys?
Yeah. This has flown by actually.
I know.
But no, we're on everything. YouTube, the shred, Instagram, the shred. My personal Instagram, that's the only social I really use, is then_Sant, which is where a lot of the confusion stems from with my
Yep.
name.
Yep.
And for anybody out there, I don't go by Vin. I go by Vince. It's funny that I'll get like messages or people will come up to me who
Hey,
only know me
Vin.
from social media, like, "What's
Yeah.
up, Vin?" I'm like, "Nah, that's not it."
That's not it.
But then, yeah, our website's vshred.com. If
Much
anybody is
shorter.
looking to get started, yeah, much better than the Vinsanity
Yes,
Sixpack
I can type
Shred.com.
that.
Yeah, exactly. So if anybody's listening and wanting to check out our quiz or any of our programs, they're all on there. The quiz is free. And we'd love to have you.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining. Guys, check it out, vshred.com. And in the lease, you get a nice little body quiz and you can figure out
Yeah.
something about yourself.
Yeah. And the beauty of that is like, and this is why it works so well, is there's a video at the end and we get some feedback that the video is a little
Yeah.
long, but we tested short video. We've tested everything. We tested short videos, tested 10-minute videos, 20-minute videos, 30-minute videos,
Works the best,
and
works the
they
best.
just people just didn't connect with them.
Yeah.
Right. And so like you have to get that buy-in because
Mhm.
it's like I would compare it to like if you bought a I don't know, let's say you wanted like I'm into golfing. Okay.
Mhm.
Let's say I bought a $20 golf trainer. I might use it once. I buy a $2,000 golf trainer.
You're
I'm
gonna
gonna use
use
that
that.
motherfucker.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And so
Yeah,
like with
yeah.
our videos, it's like if we make a 5-minute video, that's so easy for anybody to watch. And so like that doesn't really create buy-in. That doesn't
Mhm.
create investment. Versus if somebody watches 30, 40 minutes of video, they just spent some time.
Do
That shows
something with it. Yeah.
seriousness, right? They're like, I'm gonna take
I like
advantage of
that.
this now. And so,
Right.
yeah, people say that the videos are a little long, but the reason that it works so well, the quiz and the reason that it's blown up so much, and the reason that we still advertise to it is because the video at the end basically tells you what to do to get in shape. But then it's like, hey, if you don't want to do this yourself, because I know people are busy and
Yeah.
it can be
I'll help
difficult,
you.
we got a program that does it.
That's
And so
awesome.
that's
I
just a
love that.
little, yeah, little
Little heads up
tidbit
there.
for anybody who know what to expect if you go take the quiz.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I hope everyone goes and checks it out. And now they could put a name and a personality to the face that they probably
Yeah,
haven't
hopefully
seen.
this humanizes me a little bit, but we still might make that video that looks like I have to be
You
plugged
should.
in and charged
You
if we
definitely
think it'd
should.
be fun. But yeah, thank you for having me. This was
Of
fun.
course. All right. I'm gonna